What up, gamers? Spencer here, and welcome back to my reaction to the Theorizer's Pixar Mega Theory. So last time I watched it, the Gusteau Theory, number 1, 2, 3, and now in this video, we'll be moving on to the Finding Nemo Theory, which yeah, seems to be a three-parter, but I do wonder if this part is also a part of it too, because you know, I think she is ginger, like she is a redhead, so I assume this is part of it as well. So I might be watching this. We'll see. But yeah, now we got Finding Nemo theories here, which yeah is very interesting because with Finding Nemo, I think probably that movie series, like the first movie or either Monsters Inc. was like probably my first ever Pixar movies that I ever watched when I was like a kid, like way back then. So yeah, it's cool to see this like just being revisited, and now it is time to ruin my childhood. Okay, so let's begin with the first Finding Nemo theory with the devastating backstory of Darla from Finding Nemo, which I assume is that little girl based on the thumbnail that we just saw right now. Yeah, I mean, based on my knowledge of her, it's been such a long time since I watched the first movie, so I do apologize if I misremember things, but I think, from my memory from that long time ago, I think she had a history of like, I guess, mistreating animals because, she's a kid. She probably doesn't know how to take care of them. But yeah, I think she had a history of like uh, dead fish pets, I guess. But yeah, here we go. Let's go and see what's up about Darla and her tragic backstory.
Are you prepared for perhaps the most elaborate and over the top analysis I have ever done? No, seriously, I don't think you can handle
Okay.
the pure depth of this. This is Finding Nemo, a Pixar
Yes.
film, and for the sake of the near meme worthy complexity addiction I have, I've analyzed every single minor detail seen in this film and its 2016 sequel just so that I can
All
extrapolate
right.
animated plot holes into a gargantuan horror story hidden
Yeah,
between
for
the
me, I've
lines.
watched the
If
sequel,
you're new
Finding Dory,
here,
like maybe
that's
only
great,
one
but you
time,
have to be open to this kind of thing.
and that was it.
Because Finding Nemo tells basically the whole life story of the Sherman family without the characters even saying a word. I have spent hours upon hours triangulating the location of P. Sherman's dentist office from the view of Sydney out the window. I have analyzed every single thing hidden on calendars and posters
Even
in the corners
calendars
of
and
his office
posters? What?
room, and I
Okay,
have
that's
delved
crazy.
so deep into my own theories on
Like,
top
not
of
just the
theories
movies.
that the resolution becomes one of the most difficult to explain things I've built in my life. So without further ado, here's the story of Philip Sherman, his brother, and his amazingly insane niece, Darla, who is the crucial portal to the nether side of this movie.
Another side of this movie. Alright, here we go, man. Let's see it. Yeah, time to ruin my childhood, man. I feel like it's gonna be even worse, like, than what they
Hello,
depict in the
I'm the
movie with
Theorizer, and I'm aware
Darla.
that people have speculated on the origins of characters like Darla. I mean, Pixar's really asking for it when they go and put P. Sherman's photograph of her in Finding Dory's Marine Life Institute. Oh, you didn't know
Oh,
about that?
wow.
Well, even if you did, that doesn't
That's
even
in Finding
scratch
Dory?
the surface of this colossal iceberg. I've cut myself off
Yeah,
from
I'm not
covering
gonna
all other
remember
theories
anything
on Darla,
from Finding
aside from
Dory.
that one the Super Carlin brothers did a while back.
Fish are
Which, by the
friends,
way,
not
was
food.
some awesome in-depth speculation.
I mainly
But
remember
I'm
stuff in the
tackling
first movie.
the whole entire Sherman family, every aspect of them, every detail available, every source known to man. P. Sherman's backstory, his life story, his brother, yes, and the inherited dentistry occupation. So let's look at every tiny detail seen in every office, be it P. Sherman or the Institute, because we might begin to piece together just a fragment of this elusive tale. So
Okay.
let's start off by getting a basis of P. Sherman's little dentist rooms. From here on out, we'll be calling him Philip, because that is his name. You can tell this by looking at the detailed certificates on his waiting room's wall, or by scouring the
Okay.
internet for a Portuguese 144p video copy of Finding Nemo's 2003 official guidebook.
What the
Hold
heck?
on, I'm saving that for later. His
That
name
is
is Philip Sherman. So
a very
Philly over
specific
here is
find.
his little aquarium. He has lots of children's drawings on his walls and many certificates. He has lots of marine diagrams, marine art, and marine paraphernalia in general, as well as a few posters encouraging flossing and brushing teeth. When you really take the time to zoom and enhance, these posters seem to be
Well, I
produced by
can't
an
really.
association composed of
It's
dentists
not
and
really legible for us
nanotuners.
on the screen right now.
Interesting combination. Dr. Sherman also has an incomprehensibly important calendar of appointments on his
Ooh,
wall,
that
which
sounds
is basically the metaphysical
useful.
key to everything. He has some brochures to Maui and Emeryville, which is Pixar's headquarters, and finally, he has some unintelligible notes posted all around. But right next to the fish, he has 3 framed photographs. One of his boat, constantly referred to as the Aussie Flosser, if you observe carefully. The other photos include the main one we see of
He
Darla
won an
Sherman's
Oscar?
7th
Is that him?
birthday, where she murdered Chuckles the goldfish, and the other,
Yeah, I
final
remember
photo,
that picture.
is of Philip receiving a large golden tooth award in his
Oh,
slightly
that's a
younger
tooth.
years. So aside from the little x-rays, garbage cans, toilets, and other unimportant dentist objects, is there anything else? Yes, he has a waiting room, and oh, these
Oh yeah.
details are utterly crucial.
You know, I thought that was really interesting. They have a waiting room, but then I remember like they had the fish tank, right? Where you can see like where the I guess where it takes place with that dental room. Is that even a thing? I thought I feel like that's like a weird invasion of privacy because like they were even able to see like what's going through the glass,
Get to the theory
like
in
in the other
just a
room.
second. His waiting room has his certificates, Barbara, his
Is that really a
receptionist,
thing?
and it has a bunch of Easter egg
I feel like that
toys
was
on the
only there
ground
for the
for
movie.
children
Like
to play with, like Buzz
I feel like
Lightyear.
in normal
It has
dentist
plenty
areas
of
they wouldn't do
magazines
that.
and newspapers, some with very important details on them, like the one this child's mother reads,
That's
which
kind of cool. I
literally
saw
has
the
Philip's
toys there. What the
advertising
heck?
important details on them, like the
Yeah,
it has plenty of magazines and newspapers, some with very important details on them, like the
yeah.
one
Buzz
this
Lightyear.
child's mother reads, which literally has Philip's advertisement on it. Inception much.
What?
In the sequel film, Finding Dory, we also get to see a lot of details in various offices within the Marine Life Institute. Now, the famous Ultimate Pixar Theory timeline is highly controversial. I'm sure you've heard of it. Even amongst Pixar's very own staff, it's controversial, but nobody
Even
would
within the
question
staff?
whether or not the first film takes place within this
I'm just wondering why would it be controversial with the staff? I mean, I feel like when it comes to the Pixar themselves, they would probably know like the definitive timeline. I feel like they wouldn't need to worry about the theory at all if they know the real answer,
same universe as the
unless they don't
second
even
one.
know
Like,
the timeline
it's a
themselves.
direct sequel. It obviously takes place in the same world. So I will take evidence within these 2 films and cross them over, but not from any other external source. Famous little inexplicable Easter eggs like Darla Sherman being on the cover of Molly Davis's magazine in Toy Story 3, that is just as I said, an Easter egg. The picture itself, as you can
Okay.
see, is the one from Darla entering her uncle Philip Sherman's office, where no camera was available to actually take this shot. Ergo, it's not
I
relevant
need to
here.
see that.
Where no can see is the one that is just as I said, an Easter
I guess it's really hard to see from this resolution.
egg. The picture itself, as you can see, is the one from Darla entering her
I can
uncle
kind of see
Philip
it.
Sherman's office.
I was also looking at the
Where no
background too,
camera
where
was
there's like a
available to
line, that
actually, take
little
this shot.
like
Ergo,
wooden
it's not relevant
fence
here.
behind her. I can
Darla's
see
a
it.
different person in that universe, or maybe it's completely irrelevant altogether. Anyways, in Finding Dory, we can see a lot of cool details.
It's like
all
Darla
around,
more like famous than
including
I
the
thought.
calendar I'll
She's
get
like
to
appearing in
momentarily.
magazines.
Lots of notes, lots of details, and a jaw-dropping reveal that Darla knows people working here. Because in the quarantine office,
Yeah, that's
we see
crazy.
Darla.
When
No,
they showed that
not
earlier.
just Darla.
I never saw that.
Same picture of Darla that Dr. Sherman had in his office. The person who put that there knows the Sherman family, but we still don't have enough evidence for a closer connection. The Super Carlin brothers at this point came to a very similar conclusion because of this
Alright, back with the
bizarrely
Carlin
located
brothers.
photograph. But I'm not halting quite yet. That's mostly all of the details we see in the Institute. There's not many of value since we don't actually see the Sherman family in this film. Shockingly enough, however, Philip was supposed to make a cameo appearance in this film. Yes, flabbergasting, I know. Where on earth would they put him here? Well, that's just the question we need to answer. His voice actor unfortunately passed away, so they couldn't put him in the film, which also means Philip had a speaking role, an importance. But again, we'll connect the dots.
That's
in a
pretty
moment,
curious.
because there's one final detail we can find in the short film released with The Incredibles that can possibly connect things together further. Now, I know I said
Okay.
I wouldn't be inter-film Easter egging, but this isn't really an Easter egg at all, because the short film Boundin physically takes place in this Finding Nemo universe.
Oh, really?
Flash,
Oh my
100
gosh.
yard.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Zootopia 2 as well.
Now, it looks like Australia, but it actually isn't. I think they say it's Western America.
Does he
I
cover its
normally would
Zootopia?
analyze the plants and animals seen, but the ridiculously analytical depth you're about to see is why I don't have the time to analyze this short film. Anyways, it has come to my attention thanks to the short film's audio commentary that the character whose arm is grabbing the sheep to shear him is none other than Dr. Philip Sherman himself. Halt, halt,
Okay.
halt.
I
What?
felt like he was about to say
Oh,
that when he
yes.
talked about the
And
arm.
get this,
Like, is it
his
Philip?
love of nature trumps his love of dentistry by a mile. The amount of evidence for this in Finding Nemo alone is baffling. Dr. Sherman is a naturalist. It's his favorite possible dream and hobby to deal with nature and the creatures inside of it. His calendar has diving under the Sunday, which is the day he captured Nemo with his pal, who I'll get to in a moment. So he loves
That's pretty
diving
cool.
and boating with his Aussie flosser. His arm is the one used to shave sheep.
I think that's such a cool little detail. Where, like, that's where he got Nemo. Like, by just diving. And even have the schedule, like, reflecting that, too. There's, like, an actual timeline in the film
In the American West,
that they
which
kept track
could
of.
possibly be more evidence pointing to how he traveled to California, aside from the fact that he was supposed to be in Finding Dory. Additionally, he's basically a mock of Steve Irwin, what with his Australian nature, his catchphrase of
I never thought
quietness,
about that
his
until now.
naturalism,
Okay.
and all of his personality. He goes so far as to order his tank fish from eBay and mail orders. He cares about them all deeply. His posters and everything in his dentist room are of a marine nature, as well as one of them featuring presumably a koala. He gives his niece fish, which she intriguingly is obsessed over, and he grabs struggling fish every time he goes out diving. So, all of this is incredibly important for what we're about to solve. Because in my recent obsession with delving into Philip's mind, I was led to a guidebook known as the Finding Nemo Official Guidebook 2nd.
Yeah, he's been showing this a lot.
It contains tons of information.
Seems to be like a
on the film,
very
as
important
well as
book.
two
I mean, it
pages
is
on the
essential,
humans,
so.
which I became desperate to see.
Yeah, very
For
important.
the sake of this video's accuracy. I didn't want to spend a few weeks for an unreliable Amazon order to come in, but all of the false PDFs of it online were riddled with malware. I knew I needed some key details before making any sort of outlandish claim like Darla's parentage or nationality. I browsed the internet deeper than ever, and I found a website of a Pixar fan who took brief screen images of each of the pages. I got half the details on the pages I needed, but the other half were still hidden. I got key details like Philip loving to go diving with his dentist friends, and I got to see his certificates up close, but I needed more. So I scavenged for the guidebook on the depths of YouTube and found a Portuguese version. It happened to also be the first edition, not the second, but research tells me that these books have the same information, just rearranged and with some bonus stickers at the end. The video was low quality and the pages turned fast, but I managed to capture the moment of each page's full view, and I took it to Photoshop where I digitally enhanced it. I got half the remaining information from Google Translate, key details such as how Philip is a famous Australian dentist. This makes sense, as he even pulled one of the Prime Minister's teeth midway through Finding Nemo.
That was him? I didn't even know that was him. What the heck?
Business, implying the dentist's office is
That's
indeed
crazy.
the location of that address and not his house.
I didn't even know like he was that famous. I mean, he got the
Then
award.
again, he always comes in at 9 o'clock, which is apparently late, despite the receptionist Barbara being fine with it and Peach knowing he'll be in at exactly 9. But he says he's late. That says more about him than anything. Anywho, it also says dentistry at this location goes as far back as his great-grandfather from 1895. Well, that's as far as I could make out. Like, seriously, if any of you have this guidebook in English, tell me. It says he uses dentistry as a gateway to his true passion of marine life, and his office shows it. I already realized this, but then the last bits of info got so unbelievably blurry that two very helpful Brazilian viewers helped me translate it on Twitter. Users at 12JGY and at LucasMA83912255 helped out by viewing the words as a collective whole instead of individually like Google Translate. There was only a single paragraph left. I tried working it more with Photoshop to no avail. They managed to make out something that it said along the lines of Darla going to school, being in 2nd grade, and shaking fish bags of the fish she loves. Piecing it together, I managed to make out that she is in grade 2 at a fictional Sydney school known as Waltzing Matilda Primary School. It took 20 hours, but I managed to peg down Waltzing Matilda as being a famous Australian song with no school named this that I could find.
So that's from the
So
book?
why is this all important?
Yeah, I
As
do
in my
wonder why
wish
it's important.
To agree with the Super Carlin Brothers theory that Darla is American and her parents work at the Marine Life Institute, I forgot to acknowledge that she does hiss through her braces a forming Australian accent. Things like "fish in my hair" and "twinkle twinkle little star." I agree with the notion that she's directly tied to the
I don't remember much
institute,
about
but
her
I
like
think it's
accent.
inverted. And this is where the mind blow descends into brains galore. By this point, I have 17 pages of notes. Over
Jeez.
the top, you must now agree with me, but this is all stuff Pixar has distinctly put in their film, and key details they've intentionally put in their guidebook, which 0 people have analyzed this thoroughly, aside from that awesome video by the Carlin Bros. It's also said in either the book or some other detailed location that Philip gave her the shirt that reads Rock and Roll Girl. The thing with this
Okay.
girl, the thing that prompts me to say that she isn't often around her uncle, is that the last time she visited was on her birthday a year prior, when she murdered Chuckles the goldfish.
That was
Annual
last
visits,
year?
huh? Sounds like a vacation. I was even inclined to say that the second diver with Philip, whose identity I was dead set on figuring out, was her father. Until this damn guidebook implies it to be a dentist friend. So you may ask, is the book canon? Well, it has high-res images of the certificates seen on Sherman's wall, and it is official, so yes. But my theory is only the beginning. It has only set the evidence. I mean, all of it, but the evidence nonetheless. It even mentions in the book how Darla gets a special discount on braces, and in the film, Philip does fiddle with them, so he clearly is her primary orthodontist, but she still has a bit of a clear separation from him, and doesn't see him too often. Why is this? Well, I might get more into that info within the next week so I can actually have time to edit the video, but before this video gets too long for me to edit, I can say I think there's some separation issues with her parents. Clearly, her last name implies that it must be her father, who is a brother to Philip Sherman. And while it is implied he dives with dentist friends, the symmetry and intrigue of this second blue diver, who photographs Marlin like a tourist, implies to me that Darla lives in Sydney with her mother, has a divorced father who lives in California, where he
Alright,
works at the
this is
Marine
where
Life Institute,
the
and
backstory
once
gets
a
more
year, Darla gets
tragic.
to spend it all with
A
that
devastating
side of the
backstory.
family, because Darla's daddy did something. She values fish like she rarely gets them from the people she looks up to. See what I mean? This common belief system is inverted when the guidebook gets involved. Theories by the Carlin brothers, Reddit, everyone, it gets inverted. The implied divorce, violent little girl, family living locations, all of it, inverted but maintained. Darla's fascination with fish, including piranhas, intrigues me, or how she just showed up to Dr. Sherman's office without a parent present, like they just left. I don't know about
You know
but
what?
I'm
That is
starting
true.
to
There's
feel
no parent.
empathy for a
She
serial
was just
fish
there.
killer. This might take a lot of theorizing and writing to do, but rest assured, I know what
Like
I'm doing
unlike
with
that
this
one
boatload
kid,
of
that
evidence
one
I've
boy.
gathered. As soon as I can, I'll get out the next
Dang.
video continuing this, where I'll not only piece more and more puzzle parts together.
I mean, I don't know. You never
I
know.
also
She
found
might have
a
been like just
foolproof
dropped
way
off
to
and been told to
literally
go up there.
triangulate the exact
Because like, you know, they're
location of
probably
the
like very
dentist's
familiar with the
office
place maybe.
and the Marine Life Institute
That they trust her
on
to go
real
up there.
maps. I found P. Sherman 42 Wallaby Way, Sydney, and not jokingly or half-baked like those incorrect addresses you see people
Oh, we got the
going
real
to
one, the
online.
real deal.
This is real. This is its real but still fictional location based off of the angle by which the window looks across Sydney Harbor. Next Friday I'll try as fast as I can, but I've never made such huge videos before. So much data. I even think that the piano and dentist company making those posters for Sherman's office might be a part of it all. The
Wow.
Carlin brothers
Even
made the assumption that one of Darla's parents
the
is a rock
poster
star
has
based
like
on
a
Sherman's oversized
lord to it.
shirt he gave her, and I agree to the extent that her father could be an ex-pianist after the recent divorce. Opera house, famous family business, all of it is proven. The year the film takes place, the family tree hidden within it, the errors of calendars seen in both
Oh boy, another
movies,
family
and
tree
the
we gotta go over.
assumptions are all proven to be
I thought about it
correct
just now.
in one of the best things I've ever done in my life. Sad, I know.
First
My life.
Imogene,
But
then
until
Gusto.
next week, if you aren't yet, subscribe. At zero cost to you, click the big red subscribe button below because it's crucial that this finishes strong. Clicking it will ensure you eventually see the
Okay.
next video. If you want to be
Is
notified
that it?
when the video immediately goes up
Yeah, I
in the
guess that's
coming
it.
week,
I
make sure
think
to hit that little bell next to the button
so
as
far
well, because it will
this
make
first
sure you
part
get notified.
of the
Perhaps leave a
Darla theory
comment
sounds
below
pretty
with your
tame.
own evidence and theories,
I could see
and
the
hit the
potential
like
for like the
button. I'm not
future,
sure,
like the next
but I
couple of
think
videos for
YouTube's
it to go
algorithm
even more
likes that kind
crazier.
of thing, because things
But
are
yeah, I think
getting
it was cool, like just
surprisingly
seeing,
intense for
you
a
know,
minor character
I
in
guess the
a
beginning
decade-and-a-half
parts of
old
this.
Pixar film, and it only gets crazier. After my little outro, you might see, if the next video is already out, a thumbnail you can click on to take you to part 2. But that won't be for the next week. You might also see a link to my Patreon, where, if you pledge only a few
Yeah, I feel like
bucks
it's
a
a,
month,
you
you
know,
can see
a very
all of
small
them
start.
early. So until then, stay intrigued,
Nothing like too
everyone.
intense or crazy
I'm
or
Theorizer.
mind-blowing for me when it comes to this video in particular, but I assume the next one will be even bigger. Alright, next up here is that he found P. Sherman 42 Wallaby Way, Sydney in real life. So yeah, he did talk about that in the previous video, and yeah, I wonder if like the one in real life really does, I guess, play a part. I assume it does because of this video, but yeah, a whole like video dedicated to it. Anyways, let's go and see.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Sherman family
Hello.
analysis of Finding Nemo. This thing's just getting deeper and deeper. Last week we began this enormous theory by scouting out every possible speck of evidence seen in Dr. Philip Sherman's dentist office and the many offices of the Marine Life Institute.
I mean, yeah,
from
for me,
Finding
the most
Dory.
shocking thing would
We
be
also
the
connected a
whole
few
family.
dots and began to speculate who Darla's parents might be. We dissected both films in the Finding Nemo Essential Guidebook,
But yeah, I do
want to
see more
that
about
Phil
it,
Sherman is a
though.
naturalist and that the Pixar
The family
short
tree of
Found
Darla now.
Him might take place in
Well, maybe
these
you don't need to
films'
know the family
universe.
tree. It's just more
Last
the
time we left off on the
just the story
cliffhanger
behind
of
the
how
parents.
Darla's parents might be divorced, with her father living in America and
feel like
her
I need to
mother
hear
living
more
in
about
Sydney.
that.
Make sure you've seen it. I'll make it easier for you
For
by
me to be
placing
more
a
into
little
it.
white box in the top right corner of the video now, which, if you click it, will take you to part 1. Because things are getting more and more surgical than ever today as I piece together the tragic tale of Darla's family and triangulate
Here
the
we go.
geographical location of P. Sherman's dentist office. Oh god,
That's
what
pretty
has my
crazy,
life
man.
become?
He was able to find the real location of it just based on a movie. I guess that means that they really did. I mean, I assume they used they actually went there for inspiration on how to design
Hello,
the
I'm the Theorizer, and
environment.
welcome if you're new, but also, I'm sorry for the depth I'm about to go into this. No
Oh, heck
sane
yeah.
person could willingly do this for fun, but luckily this is my job. So before we meticulously string together our list of obscure details, we should get to the most major but random detail out of the way first. The physical location of Philip Sherman's dentist office. You might think this is an abject impossibility. It's fictional. Well, luckily for us, Sydney is not, and nor is the very intentional detail Pixar claims to put in their films. These claims are entirely true. Their films are some of the most accurate pieces of work I've ever seen, aside
Okay.
from some little things I'll mention in a minute. Pixar very accurately portrays the famous Sydney Harbor. They have the Sydney Tower, the Opera House, and the enormous bridge. They have
So he's
ferries
using the
seen
monuments
going into
as-
the terminal. So accurate. So using the sheer
As a way
angle
to
of which the window looks
know, like,
out
where
to
this
these
is.
3 primary structures, we can pinpoint the geographical coordinates in which Sherman practices
That's kinda crazy.
dentistry. You may have seen the online viral images of a Sydney dentist that is named P. Sherman. BuzzFeed, being the equally elaborate people they often
I
are,
wonder if, like,
actually
you know, whenever like movies and TV shows, whenever they do stuff like that, where they have like these fictional addresses and phone numbers, if that does cause any troubles with like the real life, like if they accidentally like put a real address and phone number. I feel like that happened before. Like I heard about it happening before with like maybe a phone number at least. Or like everyone has been calling them. But that must like really suck. Like, oh hey, I just happened to like get this credit card number right with the security code at the back. Like, can you imagine that too?
went out
That'd be
there
crazy.
looking back in 2015 and confirmed that this is a location you cannot go to.
It's like if they
Fake,
put in anything
presumably.
like
Now,
fake
here I
information,
was,
like
hoping I
fictional
could identify the
information,
location
somehow it's
truthfully
real.
through the reflection on the road of the door glass, but despite my clear madness, I'm not the kind of person to waste time. Sort of. But what BuzzFeed did was they just went and found a random dentist in Sydney. They never even gave the direct address, but after I pinpointed the exact location they took this picture from the phone numbers on the building's window, I realized that they too fraudulently claimed this like they often do. Simply turning around to the other side of the street will show that there is no water directly there, which was the essential crux of Gil's Mission Impossible plan to escape. No, you need exact viewpoints to find this place, which we get in film 1. Now, I'm physically lazier than the colossal
I assume with
corporation
BuzzFeed, they just
BuzzFeed, but I've never
it's mainly
set
just
foot
like
in
the
Sydney,
name
so
itself
Australians
that they
correct me if
found
I'm
matching,
wrong,
and
but
not really
Google
like
Maps
the
is my friend today. And
environment,
thank God for their needlessly
like the
elaborate
location
plan
and
to
stuff.
photograph every street on the planet. Hold up. How can I, of all people, complain about something being needlessly elaborate? Like that, I guess. Anyways, the first thing you'll notice is that the Opera House, Tower, and Bridge form a rather clean patterned line
with
if you look at them from very specific angles. This
the Theorizer,
alignment
he's just like using the monuments here
along
to
with the theory directions can only be seen
help
from
like
one
figure out where this
spot,
is.
where there happen to be a plethora of peninsulas poking out from the area. Only one of them is at the range where you could get any shot remotely like this, however. Philip Sherman is on the second floor of a building which faces a street into the ocean. These peninsulas have this feature, but one best encapsulates it. This one here, Robertson's Point. Look at this view, and so like that, we have the generally intended location of the office. It's near perfect. The only issue is some areas of the scaling, but that's just one of those aforementioned minor detail issues. There are more, and I'll explain them after I very quickly also
That's pretty
pinpoint the
interesting.
location of the Marine Life Institute from Finding
I mean,
Dory.
yeah, I would imagine like the animators or the artists in general, the people who made the movie, they might have like just got into like one of those places that where he went to like just now. Probably took some photographs and used them as references to make the environment, is what I assume.
Okay, I'll go fast. We need to get into the main evidence. This one's a piece of cake. They just call it the Jewel of Morro Bay, which is a real Californian location, Morro Bay. But when Dory hijacks the Cleveland transport truck, they drive past several real street signs calling out such
I don't remember
places
this.
as
I need to
Gilman
watch
Street.
this movie again.
And several other streets called out here are actually spots in Berkeley, California that all connect. I even saw San Pablo Avenue, which I think I remember from The Incredibles. All this proves is that Pixar can be messy with their details. They want you to solve things, they've been open about it, but the problem with anything ever like this is people not knowing what is analyzable or intended and what is not. These streets are Easter eggs. Morro Bay is not in Berkeley. The whole theme of California in this film gives off the feel of San Francisco, which just makes me want to tie in Toy Story Inside Out and Up again, but as I said, we'll stick here for now. It's easy to pinpoint just Morro Bay. That's it. But I'm detailing all of this because we're about to head into territory where these confusions become problematic. If you remember my videos on Megamind, I ended up ripping the plot holes so far that the logic became unrealistic. This is a problem for me, and I almost did it with this upcoming, because Pixar could either be pulling the most elaborate story in history, or they could be selectively lazy, because this crucial detail either proves the year Finding Nemo takes place, or it does something far worse.
Okay. Oh, Ed, yeah, let's hear about this detail that he is about to reveal to us.
You'll remember from the last video, I said the only video I really watched while doing my analysis was the one by fellow Theory channel Super Carlin Brothers. They noticed the calendar on Philip's
You've
wall,
always been
using
them as a
that it
source.
says November, and where the dates land on the week, it is concluded that Finding Nemo takes place in either 2009 or 1998. No other understandable time is available in this period. This is quite true, and by this extension, Finding Dory would take place anywhere from November 1999 to November 2010, although it looks summery in this film. The 1 year later can mean multiple things, I suppose. Then again, it's California. The problem is just in the fact that while many things are blurry on this calendar, a few key things are seen, like the day he went diving for Nemo or the day of Darla's birthday.
Yeah, I can see that one clearly.
A very hilariously creepy Friday the 13th. But here's where I begin to wonder.
Okay, that's very convenient.
This intentional. They had the will to label out this calendar with stuff I can barely read, and yet
Not convenient, but coincidence,
November has 31 days. And here's where things collapse into a pile of dust.
Okay.
Either Pixar has intentionally put 31 days in November, or they've just decided to label 31 days on a calendar that they, for the sake of ease, started on the first square, which happens to be, of course, Sunday. This problem happens again with the Sunday on a first. It happens in Finding Dory. I scanned this office room and bam, there it is. We don't know the month, but going back, 1999 had Sunday on the 1st in August, and 2010 did as well. August in those months has 31 days. 1 year later, summer, But you see the problem here?
This one for me is hard to follow because I feel like you need to really know like the dates for each year. Like for the months and where they're placed at.
Because it does seem as though this
So I'm just gonna trust him on this part where
change what it shows.
the months look weird
because we never see the month
based on the layout.
calendar and Finding Dory, and I simply couldn't analyze any more in looking through the movie for it. We don't know if it's accurate. But if this Sherman Dentists and Pianists group make these calendars as well as the posters, we could have an error consistency that's intentional. No, in all honesty, Pixar's errors like this are minor and could be explained away as Philip Sherman being too lazy to even erase the dry erase part of November he had put up there. But the key here is that Finding Nemo began production around 1998, the main possible year for Sunday, November 1st. I mean, things like the clocks on the wall are even accurate for their times and appointment lengths and such. So basically, as confusing as this is, Pixar is either making errors or Philip Sherman himself is. But unfortunately for all of this, another thing.
I mean, I can maybe see him make errors.
Tea party of calendar dates.
Like
Philip Sherman's electronic
Sherman.
aquarium filter. Finding Nemo is a film that was released in 2003. The Aquascum 2003 seems almost as if it was intended to be named that to correspond with the planned release in 2003. And you could say that it's just a joking phrase like the Blabomatic 3000 or something, or even that it's just an Easter egg and not valid data. But then you might
there's
realize
more
that
to
it
that
literally
name
says
then.
Copyright 2003 inside of the pamphlet book, consciously animated. And it's not like Philip is going to have a 6-year-old new technology if this film takes place in 2009. So then, does it take place in 2003? It would seem that it's as simple as this. Philip Sherman is such a bustling dentist that he cares not about changing the month on his calendar, in which case 2003 had a Sunday, June 1st. June, a summer month fit for this kind of weather. Then again, it's Sydney. In the midst of all of this, though, we do have one single confirmed stable data point. Darla is turning 8 years old during the movie. In Australia, as Australians will know, the school year ends around December and picks up again late January. If you also remember, we have translated that the guidebook claims
it's cool to hear like other
grade. This makes
other like parts of the world like having different
If she were American, it would mean
like summer breaks or
the month
other
range
breaks
of her birthday, but this
like
is just
before the next
more
school year and
confirmation
stuff.
that she isn't American. The photo seen throughout most of the film was from 1 year ago, marking her 7th birthday. If you look in the image's background, the photo was taken in the same dentist's office. Yet again, I'll claim that she does do this Philip Sherman visit annually. In one shot, Philip Sherman walked up to a small boy patient and said, "Little Davy Reynolds." Davy Reynolds is a famous 33-year-old racing driver who would have been this exact age in 1998. Oh, and also, he's Australian.
Weird.
However, a screenwriter who worked on this film...
You think he's actually based on him? That'll be like... Because like, I don't know if they really like... Maybe got their permission to... I guess maybe use that?
Is also named Davy Reynolds. And Pixar has an obsession with naming streets and characters after real things.
Okay.
This is a copious problem for me, and I hope you can see the impossibility in identifying this last key detail. Best I can understand is that it does take place in some time around 1998 to 2003, the film's production. But all of these final and huge details are leading to an end purpose. You see, these details all caught other things in my eye when viewing them. The big picture. Sure, Darla's photo.
I like this filter you use for this to make it look more dramatic.
See the very two people who work in that office. I think the Sherman family studies fish intelligence, and I think the incredibly bizarre, hyper-meta in-universe character of Sigourney Weaver, voiced by none other than the real Sigourney Weaver, is a key in this all. I would say she's
Wait, was she in this movie? What?
Incredibly bizarre, hyper-meta in-universe character of Sigourney Weaver, voiced by none other than the real Sigourney Weaver,
Was she really in this movie? In-universe character? Wait, what is he talking about here?
intelligence, and I think the incredibly bizarre, hyper-meta in-universe character of Sigourney Weaver, voiced by none other than the real Sigourney Weaver, is a key in this all. I would say she's Darla's mother if I didn't already claim her to be Australian. We see more people in Philip's office, and I'm going to genetically peg all of them.
I mean, if she's in
And you
this
can
this
feel it,
universe,
but
I didn't even know about
unfortunately,
that.
You're right. This is all going to have to be pushed into next week or the week after. Obviously, though, for the final time. I'm literally theorizing on part 3 as I write this video, and people on my Twitter knew this was going to happen. This 3-parter was supposed to be collectively an hour long in the end. Let's see if I'm able to compress it enough, because it needs that. Sherman's receptionist Barbara is a key player in all of this too. The humans of Finding Nemo have a mass conspiracy going on, and I'm gonna solve it. So I can't stress this enough. If you're new to all of this, click the subscribe button below the big red one.
Okay.
I assume you know what it does, but if you're an old person new to YouTube,
I think that's it.
It will, at zero cost to you, allow you to be shown when the final video on Darla's family is released in the coming week or two. Maybe
And try
I'll
to
even
review
set it
back
up
in the
early, so
video.
you could also click the little bell next to subscribe.
This one definitely felt
so
more
you'll
like,
actually be notified the
just
second
trying
it's
to-
released. In the outro, you might see a link to the new video if you've
Yeah,
just
like,
watched this
figuring out,
video
like,
weeks after I've uploaded it. Because then
the
of
time
course,
and
it
location
means
of the
that
film,
part
pretty
3 is
much.
already out. You'll also
And how,
see
like,
a link
with,
to
like,
the new
BuzzFeed, they got it
Theorizer
wrong.
merch, which
They
is
just
so
only found a
crappy,
name
but
where he's trying to
cool.
find like the real
Check it out if
location
you're
of
into
it.
weird clothing or just intriguing
But also, like,
clothing.
with the-
I'm so excited to reveal the twisting plot
Like
of
where
Unraveled
the
next
movie
week,
takes place,
and
like when
until then,
the movie
I'm
takes
the
place.
Theorizer.
I feel like that was pretty much like what this whole video was about. Which I think, in itself, it is interesting, but I feel like not as like crazy compared to like his other videos. I thought the Gusteau theory was like very engaging, like his theory on that. But yeah, we'll see if it does get crazier in the next video. Okay, we potentially have the final video. I'm not sure if that Ginger video is related. I'll maybe check out a few seconds of it. But yeah, now we got the most unhinged Finding Nemo rabbit hole. Let's go watch it.
P. Sherman is a pun on fisherman. Darla's
I
Australian.
never knew that.
Philip Sherman
It-
is a naturalist in a
P.
family
Sherman,
of dentists.
fisherman.
5 generations of dental work, 1895. Intelligent marine life, pianist parents, spying toys, Sigourney Weaver, world's best dad, triple timeline.
Yeah, what is up
Daddy
with
Sherman,
Sigourney
matching
Weaver? I didn't
genetics,
even know that she was
receptionist
in this
Barbara,
movie.
P. Sherman, 42 Wallaby Way, Sydney, Triangulation, Inheritance, Blue Divers, Prime Ministers, Divorce.
I do think it was really cool that he was able to like maybe try to
This
find the area.
This borderline,
just based on the
conspiratorial
view
level of animated
and the
detail,
monuments.
I conclude it all today as I lay out the family tree of Darla Sherman and the timeline of her family. All massive information hidden between the lines of Finding Nemo.
Yeah, so far with this theory, I think the beginning was strong, or like probably the strongest. The second one, I feel like I didn't really care much about when it comes to like the placements, like the location and the timing of the film, like when it takes place.
I'm the Theorizer, and
I was really
finally,
looking forward to more of
finishing
like
this awesome
the
series
backstory of
videos.
the
This is
family,
easily the best one. Everything
which I felt like we
up
didn't really
until
get
this
much
point
of on
has
the
just been
second video.
fiddling with little evidence. This
I feel like
is
the family
theory.
story
An
felt
awesome
more
series of
interesting
videos.
for
It's
me.
only 3 videos, this being of course the third and final, but of course if you haven't seen the first 2/3 of this mega theory, I will now link them in the white box in the top right corner. I hope you're all ready for the awesomeness, because here it comes. All of the many details I've scoured so far can fit perfectly in one way, which I suppose is best
Okay.
displayed in a timeline format. I do love me some timelines, but before
Yeah,
that,
we saw
I'll
that with the
recap
Gusteau
main
theory.
details of Darla Sherman and her parents. We know that Darla's
Oh, here we go.
uncle,
This
Philip
sounds
Sherman,
very interesting
must be
now.
related to her through a male due to the last name. This means Philip Sherman has a brother who is Darla's father. Darla herself is now confirmed to indeed be Australian, as opposed to speculatively American. You see, because her recurrent photograph is seen in the Californian Marine Life Institute of Finding Dory, it makes you think that maybe one of her parents lives in America. And one of them does. She doesn't, though, despite it being implied that she only sees her uncle for a little while once a year. This is because her parents are very clearly not together anymore. She has
Yeah.
clear obsessions and fascinations with things that she associates with people, but this fish addiction is not just because of Phil Sherman, but rather her father, who lives in California and works at the Marine Life Institute. Makes sense. She spends most of her time with her mom, who also lives in Sydney. Darla's aggression is not an uncommon thing to see in children of divorce, and almost implies that something really terrible happened
Yeah,
with her
I
father.
could see like with her aggression how that might have result like with that one dead fish. I mean, he hasn't shown it in this video, right? That picture in its full, like with that bag thing. But I think it was a dead fish, right? That's what I remember.
Darla's main orthodontist is Philip Sherman, given the fact that she receives a braces discount, but Phil's relations with her father makes her mother weary of too many visits. Her father likely visits her annually, time which she spends with that whole side of the family. Philip has a deep passion for diving and being a naturalist. It even surpasses his love of dentistry. In Finding Nemo, which takes place sometime around 2003, long story, Dr. Sherman mans his boat,
Okay.
the Aussie Flosser, to go out and find some fish.
But yeah, I assume with that second video, with that whole like time and place thing, because I felt like that was pretty much like the entire video. I assume he's going to be using that to lay out the timeline here, which yeah, I can see why he would focus on that
He
for this
kidnaps
video.
Nemo, thinking he's saving him. There is a mysterious additional man diving with him in identical but blue scuba gear. In the now infamous Essential Guidebook, it states that Dr. Sherman most often loves diving with his peers from dental school, but given the timing with Darla and the tourist-type way this man photographs the drop-off, I'm inclined to say that this is possibly his brother, Darla's dad, out with Dr. Sherman, looking for a fish to immortalize himself into Darla's memory yet again.
Alright, I'm back from the ad, let's continue.
Tried it exactly 1 year prior with Chuckles the goldfish. Darla's father desperately wants to keep ties to her and continuously buys her fish as a symbol of his occupation and passion. Her sheer excitement whenever she gets a fish, it symbolizes the family member who's never around. She's found a love of piranhas. All of this focus on fish. These two desperate
see
men
that.
go so far as to photograph her in the office with a dead goldfish just in an attempt to get some memory from her visit. Dr. Sherman keeps the photo
I do like the,
alongside Daddy Sherman, who
what he laid out so far with the whole family when it comes to like, I can definitely see this see this happening with the father just trying to, since he probably just sees her once a year, just trying to give her something, and she's always excited about it, like overly excited.
sit up in his quarantine office at the Jewel of Morro Bay. Philip Sherman, mysteriously enough, is also a famous dentist working on the teeth of celebrities and such people as the Prime Minister of Australia. We literally see this in film. Now, I'm actually inclined to agree with the theory that the Super Carlin brothers have posed regarding how her shirt could imply a famous musician family member. But like all things in Finding Nemo, the guidebook inverts the truth. And it's simply this. The guidebook openly says that Philip Sherman got Darla this shirt, which makes sense, given how oversized it is for her. He rarely sees her and barely knows her size, but I'm not calling her father an ex-guitarist or something, no. He was a pianist, or at least that's the only thing I could think of to tie the otherwise very random detail of Sherman's dental posters, which say they were made by pianists and dentists of Sydney. Naturalistic posters encouraging dental hygiene, with a random piano reference thrown in there, it's got to mean something, even if it's just a nonsensical Easter egg thrown in the face of logic. It's all tying
Yeah,
in
I
how
guess
Darla's
that can be a
mother is
possibility.
so alienated
It could be
from her
or it could be
father.
not,
So what
in my
kind
opinion.
of treachery could instill such feelings of clear hostility, resulting in a violent child? Adultery? Fame does things to people, but adultery is always a default cliche in these cases. There's minimal proof for it, but we see multiple people in Finding Nemo and Finding Dory who could be candidates for cheating, believe it or not. In a second, though, I'll get to that, because something much more intense, something that comes seemingly out of left field, happens. The events of Finding Nemo lead Philip Sherman to, no joke, move to California. I know. He possibly
hear that
even
again?
moved with his wife to events of Finding Nemo lead Philip Sherman to, no joke, move to California. I know.
So wait, he moves to
Possibly even
California?
The events of Finding Nemo lead Philip Sherman to, no joke, move to California. I know.
Okay,
He
with his
possibly
brother?
even moved with his wife Barbara, but only if she's his wife. More on that later. He's there to study fish with his brother after learning that the fish in his dental office were intelligent enough to attack him and escape.
Okay.
Holy what?
That's a
Where I
crazy.
pull this from? Let me explain.
That's a crazy
Because I think the
idea.
animals in Finding Dory specifically are being studied for their intelligence. The very
I guess. I guess in a way I can see that. It does sound very extreme, but I kind of like it.
famous Pixar theory mega timeline delves into this a little bit. There
Yeah.
are sections dedicated to how AI, humans, and intelligent animals all converge in the future, but make no mistake. This similar conclusion is only something I am coming to for Finding Nemo, based on evidence only from Finding Nemo. Because it's so true, and there seriously is no other explanation for the fresh mind blow I'm about to deliver. The animals in the Finding Nemo films are particularly intelligent creatures who can communicate with more than just voices and assimilate far beyond mere instinct. They are mutated and evolving. Darla's dad studies the increasing intelligence of marine life. An excellent example is Hank the octopus, who can literally camouflage, act bizarrely humanoid, and once again, like all fish, has high intelligence. He's notorious at the Institute for being clever and outwitting the staff. These animals are smart, and this fish hospital takes advantage of disabled marine life to study it. A good example for just how bizarre this movie series truly is how the fish speak to each other. Not only can they do it underwater, where sound travels terribly, but they can do it from literal bags away.
That is a
Nemo can hear his
weird
dad
detail.
scream from Nigel's beak as he's in a bag on the counter. He communicates with the tank gang through the same bag, and the tank gang's own members communicate with each other through the plastic bags after escaping. Even Peach, the
I mean, like,
star-
for me, I feel like it's more of like, for the audience to just understand that, that they're communicating. I don't think they thought about it being like, they thought about the logic behind this on how they would like speak.
fish has a bit of intrigue when she speaks while stuck to the
But like,
side of
if
an
we're going
aquarium
in this
glass.
mindset of
The
like
fish say they
these
can't
fish are
hear her
like
when she's
intelligent
stuck,
like
and
this,
then she
like,
flips back and
and
says,
they're
"We got a live one." Before,
evolving,
no joke, flipping
I can
right
maybe
back
see
onto
that.
the glass and talking. Now they can hear her fine? Yes, because they just got closer to her. She's flipped back the same way. See? It's because their form of communication is more sophisticated than simple sound waves traveling through water. And the Marine Life Institute is aware that some animals are developing this,
Oh
albeit
boy,
ones that can assimilate.
now it's getting a
Not
bit more
ones like the
crazy now with
anglerfish on the bottom of the sea, or ones
the
like the
marine
brainless
life getting a bit more
jellyfish, or ones
crazy.
like Becky, the mentally disabled bird. It's why the Marine Life Institute isn't really all that shocked when the fish do crazy things. It's brilliant. And the reason I know P. Sherman did move to Morro Bay is because he was supposed to make an appearance in Finding Dory. Now, I'm not sure exactly.
You know what? Yeah,
where
I just forgot about that for like a second, where he was supposed to make an appearance. I feel like if he were to make an appearance, I feel like that would like solve a lot of this. But no, unfortunately, the VA passed away, so unless they have like, because I'm not sure if they already like recorded some lines. I feel like if there's any evidence of that, I feel like that could like really help of like knowing maybe the context behind that appearance.
information comes from, but given the fact that it's riddled across multiple wikis and the fact that, remember, Pixar confirmed P. Sherman is the man shearing sheep from Boundin, and it takes place in Western America, bang.
Oh, you know what? Yeah.
Even if it's just his model.
Yeah, I think right now when it comes to his overall like theories for this Finding Nemo stuff, it's getting really interesting
Still unique enough for them
with the
to
ideas that
mention,
he's
and
presenting.
each piece of trivia proves the other. The trivia of his planned Finding Dory voice role was likely from a bonus commentary. Even disregarding all of this cyclical evidence, we know the obvious facts of Darla's photo being there, and lots of Californian brochures being on P. Sherman's office wall. P. Sherman lives in California now. I'm not even sure, but I think I saw his Aussie Flosser boat being hauled on a freeway in Finding Dory. He's
Really?
a naturalist. He works in tandem with his family to prove the intelligence of animals, and it was a speaking role. He was important enough to be here. It was cut because the voice actor passed away in 2011, however. So animals are smart. This should come as no surprise to anybody, honestly. Even fish who rarely see the outside world, like Marlin, know all about the things humans do. He knows what balloons are, but not dentists. It's interesting. I'm even prompted to think that the person who touched Hank and traumatized him by supposedly ripping off one of his arms was a Sherman. It would be the kind of thing for Pixar to do, but There's literally zero evidence for that, and Occam's razor shreds it to bits. Darla's got a love of fish, she obsesses with trivia on piranhas, and this is a hell of a lot of speculation, but it's all tied down properly. My final piece of speculation before I throw a family tree in here is
Okay.
that Barbara, Philip's receptionist, is his wife. She knows Darla well, she calls Philip love, she's the appropriate age, and there's nothing totally crucial here, but we can put her as
I can
his
see
wife
it.
for now, just to fill.
I just want to read this. As I am editing this, very recent information provided from the guidebook owned by the viewer and patron Kyle Hodgson tells me that P. Sherman has no wife or kids. Oh, there we go. This, therefore, is just a friendship to fill the slot. It does not affect the theory. Okay, so yeah, I guess we just throw that out the window.
The slot on the family tree. So here it is. Darla is the daughter of an occupational MLI naturalist with a hobby for pianos, and her mother is a Sydney woman who had a very vicious breakup with her husband. Maybe their alienation was built over time as he lived in California, or maybe he cheated, I don't know, but the aggression was so great that it caused Darla to become an animal killer. Daddy Sherman has a father, a grandfather,
Yeah,
a great-grandfather,
it's
and a
crazy.
great-grandfather who all practiced dentistry at 42 Wallaby Way, Sydney, and their title was passed on to Philip, Darla's uncle. We can assume Philip is the older sibling for reasons such as the title being passed to him, among other little observational features. Philip is an occupational dentist with a hobby for naturalism who shifts his practice to California after the events of Finding Nemo. He could be married to a Sydney woman named Barbara. Wham! That's the tree. Before the timeline, though, there are 3 more small things that we need to establish.
Okay.
The MLI seafloor, the owners of the quarantine office, and genetics. First, the Marine Life Institute has some interesting things lurking beneath the surface of its surrounding waters. There are a few Easter eggs, but most prominently, there are a couple of cars. What could
Yeah.
this mean? What kind of person drives cars into the ocean next to an aquarium? Oh my
I mean,
god.
driving cars into the aquarium.
Dory's fish escape has happened before.
Mm.
Fish have escaped from here more than once. It's the only thing that makes sense. It's why this hospitable.
Okay, I assume like with that scene earlier where like when he said like Dory like hijack a truck or something. Because yeah, like I'm guessing that's all taking place in Finding Dory or something like that. But yeah, I don't remember much from that movie. I've only like seen it once. I do remember like them being in like a SeaWorld type place and they try to go back. Like yeah, like Marlin and Nemo try to save Dory. And yeah, we also got to see like Dory's parents there too. So yeah, I can maybe see that where because we saw this car here, I assume that it's in that aquarium like they said. That yeah, there have been like attempts where fish try to escape.
Aquarium doubles as a study center. They are used to this sort of madness. It's why they're aware of fish
They're used to
intelligence
it.
in the first place. This is a
It's not the
huge
first time I
detail,
saw
but
like
there
my
isn't much
pet
more I
goldfish
can
try
really
to
say
escape.
about it, other than that it supports my theory. Another thing we see on the seafloor in a few places is a best dad ever mug. It could be nothing, but in my opinion, it's a reference to the idea that a father works here. Obviously, the chances of that are very likely, but given our newfound knowledge that Pixar has hidden this very specific story in their films, could it be a rather direct reference to Darla's father? I'm not sure, but the seafloor is clearly important. Second on the list is the quarantine office, the specific one that contains Darla's photograph. This
Yeah.
is probably the most revealingly intriguing point of
I
these
think it's one of the
three
more
main
important
topics, because
evidence.
believe it or not, we see the people who put Dory into this office, the ones that captured her. Now, whether or not they're the ones who own the office, well, I cannot be sure, but they linger on the male of this duo for quite some time as he makes a joke. He is then scolded by the female. In the background of this office, we can also see an automotive coupon, a map of the oceans, a picture of a glacier, and a similar-looking tropical ad to the one Dr. Sherman had. The twosome that enter the office, at first I thought she called him Phil, which would have put another rapid spin on things, but not only did she, well, not call him Phil, but the people who put Dory in this room aren't the ones healing her. This is quarantine, and a more technical sort of chemist would be the one to work in this spot, as seen with the beakers. The woman here does clarify that the man is a scientist, but everyone working here is technically. So we need someone with a similar build to Dr. Sherman, who looks like the diver and who works in quarantine. When
Okay.
Hank scuttles around the corner, a man in another office picks up the phone and says, "Hi, how are you?" to some mysterious other person in the building. This is the office in which we see that pesky calendar, which is etched with permanent dates. You know, it's not like the one that Dr. Sherman could mess up with dry erase, although it's got the same format. The interesting thing, however, is that the month Finding Dory takes place can actually be pinpointed a bit better by looking at how much of the calendar is flipped so far. It's not
That's
January,
crazy.
February, or any time after June, and it's a month that can have 31 days, so it's another Sunday the 1st. This leaves March 2009.
That's a cool thing to like think about.
March 1998. What am I doing?
Like using like how many pages are left, like being flipped over to like know like how far you are into the year. I think that's a cool uh like idea to think about when you want to find out like a time for like a story.
Sorry, that's what part 2 was for. It's just, again, the dates are confusing. What's most important here is the man in the room. He doesn't look to be old enough to be Dr. Sherman's brother. He's much younger. He's looking for Hank the Octopus like the rest of the MLI. Point is, while either he, the male from the duo, or some other scientist could be Darla's dad, there's evidence all around of this father having a new partner. The female in the duo, for example.
Oh, add. All right, let's continue.
Point is, while either he, the male from the duo, or some other scientist could be Darla's dad, there's evidence all around of this father having a new partner. The female in the duo, for example. We see both of the men again loading the Cleveland truck in quarantine. I do not know, but it's one of these workers in this building. The picture proves that it absolutely positively has to be. You'd think that he'd have an Australian accent, but we don't get to hear all of the people speak, and accents can be fickle anyways, so moving on to the final topic here, genetics. Darla has incredibly distinct green eyes and red hair, which
I just realized, because he talked about genetics here, I have a feeling that's going to tie into that ginger theory coming up. I might need to maybe watch that probably like right after this then. I feel like that's gonna, yeah, like especially like this being like the last thing here. I feel like he's gonna like uh try to follow this up by that next theory.
are extremely recessive genes, making it highly likely that one of her parents has these features. Philip Sherman does not seem to have these features. He has blue eyes and brown hair, as seen in previous photos before it began to gray. We see a bald man in Sherman's waiting room, right age, with greenish eyes, and because it could be either parent who has those recessive genes, this could in fact be her dad, who parked his car after quickly dropping off Darla. I honestly don't know. The criteria is specific. But
I think it's more like just a random guy, in my opinion.
This video is getting
I feel like if they would show the father, they would like really let the viewers know that that's the father.
Long, so I'll wrap it up. If I were to flatten this whole entire
because I feel like that's a very important character to
I'd probably make it double-sided,
have as a background
one
character.
for the events of California and one for the events of Sydney. It begins with the creation of 42 Wallaby Way as a dentist's office in 1895 and Sherman I owning it. It is passed down to Sherman II. It is then passed down to Sherman III. Finally, it is passed on to Sherman IV. It is a famous dentist business at this point, working on celebrities and the Prime Minister. Ads all throughout the newspaper. Sherman IV is the father of the two brothers I have been calling Philip and the Darla Daddy. Philip's duty is to maintain this tradition, and he honestly doesn't mind doing dental work. He goes to university and loves it, gets a ton of certificates, joins academies, and
he's a
wins
very successful
awards in
guy.
his younger years. He has dedicated his life to dentistry, but his true hobby revolves around nature, and all of this leaves him no time to have children of his own, but he might be married to a woman named Barbara, his receptionist. It's very apparent that he has no children given his behavior towards Darla. He's around 50 to 60 given his appearance. Meanwhile, younger sibling Daddy Darla doesn't inherit the dentistry business and pursues a similar passion to his brother, that of marine life and nature. His additional passion is music, or at least as far as those little hints on Darla's shirt and the possible piano link on the poster is concerned. He might have had a few music businesses based on these clues and the shirt and poster Philip buys, but after a vicious breakup with his wife from alienation, cheating, or some other nasty thing, he leaves. He even had a daughter with this woman, and he's forced to leave her too. This takes a toll on Darla's aggression, and she develops an obsessive fascination with her father's hobby, fish. Part of the guidebook I could not translate mentioned how Darla feels like she needs a fish, and if it doesn't appear as though it likes her, she'll snap.
Can I see that? Recent developments confirm she simply thinks fish are sleepy.
Snap. That's as much as I could
Let me
sort
rewind.
of make fish. And if it doesn't appear as though it likes her, she'll snap. That's as much as I could
Oh.
sort of
Wait,
make out from the
hold on,
blur.
what
Her
was...
father appears though
Can I hear
not
that full sentence?
translate, mentioned how Darla feels like she needs a fish. And if it doesn't appear as though it likes her, she'll snap. That's as much as I could sort of make out from the blur. Her father has studied
She'll
animals for some
snap.
time though, and
I mean, we kind of saw that too, right? Like in a movie where Fishy, wake up, or something like that, where she starts shaking Nemo in the bag.
has learnt of their uniquely evolving properties. He moves to California so he can work at a center for studying fish. He keeps his daughter in his mind at all times, keeps a photo of her in his lab, and visits her once a year. Philip is still Darla's orthodontist, but aside from that, Dr. Sherman only spends large amounts of time with her when her father is around. The mother is quite vindictive, you see. On Darla's 7th birthday, she is given a goldfish named Chuckles, who she kills by shaking its bag. The Sherman brothers take a photo of her and keep it, despite its abjectly macabre nature. 2 copies, seen in 2 places. As Dr. Sherman says, exactly 1 year later, on her 8th birthday, Finding Nemo takes place. Darla's daddy and Dr. Sherman go out and find her a fish. She spends a week with her dad before visiting her uncle. Madness ensues. She is traumatized by the events that occur during her visit with her uncle. After all this goes down, Philip acknowledges the brilliance of his animals. The remainder of his tank fish escape through the window after breaking his 2003 device, and he's had it. He gives it all up to be with his brother. He becomes a naturalist, fulfilling his lifelong passion. We get confirmation of this in Finding Dory's pre-production, and in the short film Bound In, which shows him tending to the land nature as well. He does all this because fish have been acting out. They've been getting smarter and escaping places like the Institute.
Yeah, screw
Sherman is
fishes. We got the
intrigued,
land
and he
animals.
joins the study. Then, 1 year
At least they're
after
not
the events of
evolving in a way.
Finding Nemo, Finding Dory occurs. Dory's hijacking of the truck is the final straw for this fishy institute, and, along with Hank the octopus's elusive nature, animal intelligence has been leaked to the world. So what happens after Finding Dory? Well, now I have to finally go into the territory I didn't want to, but I'm honestly left with no choice.
Okay.
Remember how I said Easter eggs don't count? It's true. Ones like the impossible to take picture of Darla do not count. But ones like you
Oh,
not.
snap.
Right
Yeah, I just saw that right now. I feel like I've seen this before. Like, I think I've seen this before with Riley being there. But yeah, that's... I just noticed that, like, right away because her face was so bright.
from Inside Out
Is
visiting
that
the
really
Jewel of
Riley?
Morro Bay
This was confirmed openly by Pixar. That's crazy.
do count because
Also, I don't know if it's, like, me or his, like, voice is, like, going out. Like, it's being a bit more muffled. Like, is it my headset? I have no idea. But yeah, if you're hearing it being muffled, that's the video.
Finding Nemo is the hidden 4th series that takes place in the Emma Jean
Oh
Pixar
no.
universe. For those who don't know, I've been
That's kind of
constructing
crazy. What
a
is that
major
what that ginger
theory
thing's going to be
since
about?
2016 that proves how not all Pixar films are connected, but the Toy Story films, Inside Out and Up, most certainly are.
Oh, bad. Okay, let's go and wrap this video up, man.
Because of a woman named Emma Jean. The very famous Pixar theory is all about Easter eggs. This is about facts that tie the movies together, identical locations, confirmed by the directors. And it's all because of this woman named Emma Jean. And this Finding Nemo theory trilogy I've made is nothing
Oh,
more
trilogy,
than a
okay.
backdoor sequel to that series of videos. You should watch them, or rather only part 1, which I will link
I
in the
like how,
right
like,
box
over
above
time, he's
now,
been able to
because it all ties
go back to
in.
the Emma Jean
We
stuff.
see Riley there
It feels
in
like a
the
really cool,
Institute
like,
visiting. I've even
series of
pondered
videos. The
Ratatouille
trilogies
fitting
here.
into this mini-verse as well because of Renata. If you want to know what I
Wait,
mean there,
wait, what? Hold on, what do you
consult
see?
my verse as well, Institute visiting. I've even pondered Ratatouille fitting into this mini-verse as well because of Renata.
Mm.
If you want to know what I mean there, consult my trilogy of theories on Gusteau, which I won't link because
And
I'm running out
Linguini
of
is a
space and time
ginger, right?
here. Darla's cameo in Toy Story is physically
I'm trying to think
impossible,
like who would
but
be
they do
featured in
take
there.
place in the same universe. Riley, who lives
Can I
in
say
the
that
close
again? I know I'm like talking over.
impossible, but they do take place in the same universe. Darla's cameo in Toy Story is physically impossible, but they do take place in the same universe.
Mm.
Riley, who lives in the close by city of San Francisco, confirms it. Absolutely. Did you know that Sigourney Weaver also voices a robot from Wall-E? Almost like it's an AI announcer
Really?
in Finding Dory 2? Nah, that's too ultimate timeline-ish for me. But when you do a deep dive like this into the actual evidence minus surface level speculation, the famous Pixar theory, believe it or not, gets inverted, just like everything else, and it's amazing. But I refuse to share it all. It would take too many videos, but I won't hide it for long. So many connections, even in just this Finding Nemo duology. The scuba diver in Sherman's tank could be spying on the fish's IQ, or Emma Jean's "wishing you were here" line could be referencing Australia. All of the Pixar films that take place between 1900 and the present, minus maybe The Incredibles, can be tied together. I'm not saying this is the Pixar theory, this is far different. Renata from Ratatouille and Darla's father are connected. Orange hair
Jeez.
like Linguini. Oh
Yeah, that's what I
my
thought. With that
Emma
whole ginger theory
Jean
coming up.
is Renata Linguini and Darla's mother. Theory channels, don't you dare steal my flow here. I'm making a Ratatouille theory as we speak. And until next time, I'm the Theorizer. Subscribe immediately. This is far from over. I have never in my life been so excited for theorizing here. My upload schedule is utterly packed. And you should click the bell too to join this madness while it lasts, because this just got amazing. I'm here to
It does
analyze
sound
it
really
deeper
exciting,
next
man.
time, but there's already a basis I just posed. Okay, outro time.
Alright, so yeah, there you have it. That was it for that last video there. So that was the trilogy of theories for Darla from Finding Nemo. But yeah, because he said trilogy, I'm just gonna keep it as 3 videos. I will save like the rest for the next one, which I'm looking forward to because it seems like this seems to really tie everything up together. I am kind of curious about this whole Pixar ginger theory or conspiracy because I also thought about Linguini, and then he brought it up too with like Darla and Linguini, and then somehow yeah, Renata is also like tied in with the Finding Nemo stuff. But yeah, I think this is a really cool series that he's doing because I'm not sure like how far he planned this ahead, but like he's able to like really tie everything up together when it comes to these 3 trilogy of movies so far. Or I guess movies, just more than like 3 movies. Like the like within this one here is like multiple movies, Inside Out, Toy Story, and all that stuff. Um, but yeah, when it comes to the Finding Nemo stuff, I thought it started out pretty tame, but also like very good, where they give the idea of like her backstory with her parents and stuff. Um, I do think this one was more about like just figuring out the time and place for the movies, which I feel like was mainly used to explain like the events in here. But yeah, I think with this trilogy of Finding Nemo stuff, I think definitely one of the more like you know I guess tame, maybe not as like crazy compared to like the Gusto and the Emma Jean stuff in my opinion. But overall, it was still fun. I think still so far my favorite would be the Gusto theory. I do. I think this one was very cool to hear about. But now, like, we're about to get a bit more ambitious with like the ginger conspiracy, and then I guess now a full family tree. Which man, one giant family. I don't know what this will be about. The 5-dimensional Pixar timeline. That sounds like it's already like breaking up my head, man. Like it's gonna blow my mind probably. And then Toy Story 4, where apparently this might be Emma Jean, which is interesting. Toy Story 4 confirm all your theories. I assume that this is where Toy Story 4 was like released. And now we're about to get the 5th movie, man. I wonder if that might also affect, You think the Theorizer will do a follow up if anything changes, or if it if it disproves or proves some of his like Toy Story theories? I wonder about that. But yeah, there you have it. Next one for like the next video, it'll be the final part for this Pixar Mega Theory number one, and then we'll move on to the second one. But yeah, I've been enjoying it. Yeah, I can't wait to see these I guess last four videos because they seem to be very big. So yeah, that'll be for now, guys. That's game.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good